This is the World Report of The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, April 2002. Salt Lake City welcomes the world for the 2002 Winter Olympics, and President Hinckley becomes an Olympic torchbearer. The stage spectacle Light of the World is presented to an international audience in Salt Lake City. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir joins renowned composer John Williams before a worldwide television audience of 3.5 billion.
For 17 days in February, the eyes of the world were upon Salt Lake City as the 2002 Winter Olympic Games came to town. Being the headquarters of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, naturally many eyes were also upon the church and its members. Though the church had no administrative function for the Games, it did participate in the form of volunteers, facilities, and other resources when asked by Olympic organizers. From the Mormon Tabernacle Choir to performers from Brigham Young University and other volunteers, church members worked alongside many others in the state and from many parts of the world in a great community effort to make these Games the best ever. In the weeks and days counting down to the Games, the carrying of the Olympic torch was a point of great national and international interest. On the final leg of the journey, members of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles and the First Presidency of the Church became official torchbearers.
I think the most important thing is that we're welcoming the world.
Hi.
And whether it be in Isaiah or Micah or where it says that the people would come to the mountaintops, they're here. And we need to welcome them and let them know that we really appreciate them being here.
Tonight, we join in saluting the people of Salt Lake City who have brought these Games here. We thank them for their great efforts. We salute the state of Utah, whose party this is. We salute the athletes who will join in a great contest of excellence. Let this be a great and historic and wonderful occasion. Our congratulations and our gratitude. All in favor, raise your hands and salute them. Thank you. All right, Neil. All right, there you are. Okay.
I feel I don't deserve to be a torchbearer, but it was great to be with the torchbearers and to bask in their reflected glory. The Olympic flame ought to make us illuminated individuals all the time, not just every 4 years.
From singing the national anthem to backing up various performers in the opening ceremonies, the Tabernacle Choir also performed the Olympic theme, Call of the Champions, written by famed composer John Williams.
In my mind, there's nothing more exhilarating than an orchestra and chorus together. When I was asked to do this, and the fact that we're going to do it in Salt Lake City, where the Mormon Tabernacle Choir lives and works, presented an opportunity to use the choir for this piece.
Well, to be there was one of life's greatest highs. It was a lot of sacrifice for the choir. We had to pre-record everything. It started in November, prior to the Olympics.
I thought about a text, what to do, where to find it, and was unable to find anything, settle on anything, until I discovered the 3-word motto from the late 19th century first modern Olympic game, which is Citius, Altius, Fortius, roughly speaking, I guess, swifter, higher, fast, stronger. And it seemed to me that this could form a declamatory short phrase for the chorus to intone, and this would be give us a celebratory feeling. Even before the orchestra played, we would hear the Mormon choir declaim these words.
Among dozens of performances by the Tabernacle Choir throughout the Olympics was a performance for Governor of Utah Mike Leavitt and President George W. Bush at the Utah State Capitol.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. It's a powerful introduction. Must have been the choir.
It was an honor. We stood directly behind the president. We sang the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and he was very moved by it.
While here, President and Mrs. Bush also met with the First Presidency of the church.
The president kindly gave us our family histories, genealogies that have been researched here, and it's a wonderful gift. And I said, before you tell me, are there any horse thieves in there?
I want to tell you that he comes of good stock, and so does she.
Many other dignitaries visited with church leaders during the Olympics, including the Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan.
We're highly honored to have this good, wonderful leader with us. What a tremendous work he's doing in trying to bring peace and goodness to the people of the world.
Other distinguished visitors included Johannes Rau, President of the Federal Republic of Germany. As the Olympic flame burned brightly over Salt Lake City, tens of thousands of volunteers continued to work behind the scenes to do their part in making the world welcome to Salt Lake City.
I was a hostess for the French delegation. We welcomed people into where the French delegation was staying.
I learned Mandarin Chinese on my mission in Taiwan, Taichung, and I worked with Mr. and Mrs. Wu and their family from Taiwan.
A letter from the First Presidency in March of 2000 encouraged members to volunteer for the Olympics. The response was overwhelming. When the Olympic Committee stopped taking applications 11 months before the Games began, 68,000 people had applied for 25,000 volunteer positions. While much was said about the friendliness of the volunteers, the whole experience seemed to be mutually positive.
It's fun to see they were friendly and excited to talk to me for who I am too, and that they were curious about my life and things we do here, just as I was curious as to what they do there.
This person said, well, people act friendly everywhere, and he said in Utah, people act friendly, but they really are friendly. So that was kind of fun for me to have him say that, because I felt like we really were. We were there to genuinely help and be of service, and we had no strings attached. We just wanted to be friendly and helpful, and that's what we were.
Volunteers drove thousands of miles, worked thousands of hours, and many worked double shifts without compensation. Was it worth it?
My life is uplifted because I've made new friends. That was my purpose for getting involved with the Olympics, was to make some new friends, particularly from China or Taiwan, I had hoped.
I had a great experience. The people were just so friendly and excited to be here, really impressed with the Olympics, impressed with the venues.
When I first signed up to volunteer, someone said, well, are you working at the Olympics? And I said, well, I'm volunteering. They said, well, you could get paid. You could be working and getting paid. Why are you working every day for nothing? But it was really worth it.
On the morning following the Olympic opening ceremonies, distinguished guests from around the world gathered in the church's conference center for a roundtable forum on Olympic Aid, a nonprofit, athlete-driven organization helping disadvantaged children worldwide improve in physical, emotional, and social skills. Panelists included International Olympic Committee President Jacques Roga, Salt Lake Organizing Committee President Mitt Romney, hockey great Wayne Gretzky, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and Primary General President Colleen Menlove, among others. Presiding Bishop H. David Burton noted the church's support.
We of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are interested in children's events, children's welfare, and children's health.
Ann Romney, wife of Mitt Romney and Olympic Aid advocate, further explains.
Olympic Aid programs help children living in the most disadvantaged situations. Their programs of sport and play bring both hope and joy to children who are victims of war, conflict, disease, and poverty. Sport and play are a powerful tool for children's development.
Olympic aid programs also help in the fight against tobacco and drug use, provide immunizations and vaccinations, and educate against the spread of AIDS. As part of the church's Olympic aid support, a benefit concert of Light of the World was held on February 5th. All donations made by the 20,000-plus audience were given to Olympic aid.
When you think about the basic unit of society, it's the family. It's missing in places, but we can look to the future with such great hope that there will be families created by those that experience sport and play.
The benefit of sport and play is also personified in the Paralympic Games. As with the Olympics, the First Presidency participated as torchbearers for the Paralympic Games held in early March.
Welcome to the Paralympics, to these great athletes who have excelled. Go forward, win the race, let everyone be a winner. Hooray!
As Salt Lake City prepared to welcome the world for the 2002 Winter Olympics and Paralympics, the church also prepared for the public eye by producing Myths and Reality, a 9-minute video discussing a brief history of the church in Utah and some of the common myths about the church.
I know that the Mormons basically run the state of Utah.
I don't know enough about the Mormon religion to know whether or not it has, if it's very pertinent or not with today's society.
Hosted by football star Steve Young and former Miss America and sportscaster Charlene Hawks, the presentation addressed some of these common misconceptions about the church.
In the next few minutes, we want to show you some things that we hope will dispel some myths about us, because the myths are still out there, alive and well. So let's dispel myth number 1. Mormons discontinued the practice of polygamy over 100 years ago.
I wish to state categorically that this church has nothing whatever to do with those practicing polygamy.
All right, myth number 2. Mormons are a close-knit group only interested in taking care of themselves. The fact is, the church provides global humanitarian and welfare programs to help the needy that are unlike anything else in the world. In the last 15 years, our humanitarian efforts have reached 147 countries. In times of disaster and need, we've distributed thousands of tons of food, medical equipment, clothing, and educational supplies across the globe.
Hi, I'm Charlene Hawks. I'd like to discuss myth number 3. Mormons are not Christian. This is a tough one for us to understand because we are Christian to our core. Maybe some of it comes from the word Mormon, which is a nickname, not a title. My faith, like those of millions of other members of the church, is the most important thing in my life. It brings meaning and purpose to life and gives practical answers to the challenges we all face daily. I hope this gives you a better understanding of who we are and who we are not.
Towering above all mankind stands Jesus the Christ, the King of glory, the unblemished Messiah, the Lord Emmanuel. He lives, resplendent and wonderful, the living Son of the living God.
The Mormon Tabernacle Choir and Orchestra at Temple Square joined with world-famous guest artists in performances for the Cultural Olympiad in Salt Lake City. The Conference Center hosts over 300,000 for the multimedia stage presentation, Light of the World.
As part of their Olympic experience, visitors from all over the world were invited to see the church's Olympic program called Light of the World. This state-of-the-art multimedia stage presentation was one of the church's contributions to the Olympic experience.
When we began about 4 years ago, the mission as it was presented to us was to provide a welcoming experience for the world.
We wanted to find that universal message that would appeal to people of all cultures and faiths and races, and that they could identify with. And that universal theme was that there is a light within each of us, and that light is the thing that inspires us to acts of greatness, courage, achievement, all the things that are the best about the Olympics.
The Light of the World began with a pre-show in the Conference Center lobbies. that featured the culture and dancing of countries all over the world.
Right when the people walk in to the conference center, the first thing they see is dancing, dancing from different countries and stuff, and it kind of draws people into the conference center.
It was a daunting task to create from scratch a world-class production that appealed to international visitors and presented gospel principles.
They gave me the script, and I looked at the script, and I said to myself, if they can translate it from paper to stage, it'll be miraculous. And I watched it happen.
Being a volunteer cast member was a sacrifice, but rewarding. Dallin Bayliss played Alma Richards, the first Utahn to win a gold medal in the 1912 Olympics.
After the performance, my family came, and my grandmother was there. And after the show, she said, now you, just kind of matter-of-factly, now you know that you're related to Alma Richards, don't you? And I'm like, really? No. I had no idea. And that was really neat for me, because I thought I had felt a kind of a connection to this character and this person. And I've always kind of wondered why, because this show really is a lot about families, and it's about ancestors, and it's just really neat that it turned out, unbeknownst to everybody, that I'm related to this wonderful man.
I had a pioneer ancestor. His name was Charles Ramsden Bailey. I think I've come to some small degree of a knowledge or an experience of what our pioneer ancestors went through, the hardships of coming across the plains.
It's miraculous. I feel so blessed to be a part of that and to be able to share my testimony every night on stage through song and dance.
I believe very strongly in its message that every one of us has a universal light that inspires us to achieve, that inspires us to do good, inspires us to be better, and that, of course, I believe that and know that that light is the light of Christ.
To know that every night 22,000 people walk into that hall, and when they leave that hall, they will be different in some way. And for everyone, it might be a little different. But to know that you can share with them the message that Jesus Christ is the light of the world, and they have that light within them. And it can be a light within them that inspires them to these acts of courage and greatness.
This is a result of the workings of the Lord.
With thousands of journalists from all over the world in Salt Lake City for the Games, the church organized a news resource center at church headquarters to help meet the demands for information and other resources. 500 volunteers joined to help over 1,300 journalists from 40 countries find not only video clips and information, but hospitality as well.
They're so nice. They're doing everything for you. You really have the feeling that you're welcome here. And it's very nice to be here.
The universal response that we have gotten during our entire experience here has been, we've never had this kind of help before. We've always had to dig and scratch and fight to get a story. You're arranging all these things and giving us film clips of all the things that the church does. They've never had this kind of service in their whole career.
Service given by volunteers with some unique abilities.
What a great resource we had in the language ability of so many of our people who had served missions abroad in many countries and speak with ease in the language of the people.
We have kept President Hinckley's mandate of being good hosts to the world, and they have felt our hospitality and our genuine love and concern for them.
As media representatives and others came from all parts of the earth, some came with preconceptions about a church and people that seemed peculiar at best. When it came time to go home, many were pleasantly surprised at what they had found here.
People of the nations have come here, seen us. Some came with suspicion. Some came, I think, with prejudice. I think they left with appreciation and respect.
Running parallel to the Olympic Games was the Cultural Olympiad, which included a series of concerts from the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and orchestra at Temple Square.
We suggested a guest artist series, took it to President Hinckley, the first presidency. They thought it was a terrific idea. We shot for the stars, and we got them.
Stars that included Oscar-winning composer John Williams. Acclaimed mezzo-soprano Frederica von Stade. The Army Herald Trumpets from Washington, D.C. The world's greatest clarinetist, Richard Stolzen. The internationally renowned King Singers. And for the Paralympics, the world's first and leading solo percussionist, Evelyn Glennie, whose impressive performance is elevated even more by the fact that she is also deaf.
The schedule was unbelievable. The schedule was grueling. We told the choir it would be like a 3-week tour. It really was worse than a tour because they had to do their day jobs and then come and work.
Which has always been one of the remarkable attributes of the choir. They work entirely without compensation, except for their love of music.
On that opening week, Wednesday night, they finished at the stadium at 10:30, and some of these people drove back to Logan, which is 85 miles away, some at Smithfield, which is almost 100 miles away. So they're getting home at midnight or 1. They're back in the Tabernacle at 6 a.m. to do the Today Show with Al Roker. It was remarkable.
All right, thank you. And one left. Hey, how about, can you guys do the wave? Let's start from this side. Go.
After long hours and an unrelenting schedule, Director Craig Jessup describes the experience in a few simple words.
Exhilarating, humbling, gratifying, exhausting, worth it.
This has been the World Report of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, April 2002.